Let's talk about the different wavelengths that are out there when you're going to invest in an infrared sauna. You often hear people say, oh, I want to get a far infrared sauna. I want to get a near infrared sauna. I want to get far, mid, and near, which is typically what we call full spectrum. And these are just different wavelengths. And infrared is something that our own body actually gives off. It's heat. If you rub your hands together quickly and you generate heat, that is infrared. When babies are born prematurely at the hospital, they put that little lamp over top of them or above them. That is called an infrared lamp. So people often say, what is infrared? And it's a wavelength that basically generates and creates heat. Now there's different types of wavelengths on the spectrum. There's some that are longer, shorter, and they all have different properties that they portray. So first of all, far infrared is the longest wavelength on the spectrum. Far infrared has been around forever, actually created over in Finland when we were talking about, these infrared saunas. And most people have actually only heard of a far infrared sauna up until maybe 5 or 6 years ago when we started talking about, hey, let's create, a full spectrum sauna. Not that mid and near wavelengths haven't been around, but we just didn't have saunas that had those particular wavelengths in them. So far infrared is the longest wavelength. It is great for detoxification, blood pressure reduction if needed, weight loss if needed. Now keep in mind, any sauna, particularly an infrared sauna that actually is going to penetrate the core body by about 2 to 3 inches, is going to keep the body in that what we call parasympathetic or rest and digest state. Most people are in fight, flight, or freeze, which is sympathetic state, and they are constantly feeling like they're jittery, anxious, running from the tiger. So saunas in general are going to make you feel a lot more calm and relaxed. So far infrared, again, been around the longest wavelength, a lot of great qualities with just a far infrared sauna. Then there's actually what we call full spectrum, where you're adding in 2 additional wavelengths. So far, mid, and near. Mid is a longer wavelength. It's great for any kind of circulatory issues. It is a pretty small portion of the pie, just so you know. And then there's near infrared, which is the shortest wavelength. It's great for pain reduction, skin impurities, wound healing. So a lot of people say to me, do I need far or do I need far, mid, and near? And I say it truly depends on, one, your budget, because common sense will tell you that the more wavelengths you have, the more costly the sauna is going to be. So if you're just buying a far infrared sauna, it's going to be a lot less expensive than you adding 2 additional wavelengths and purchasing what we call full spectrum, far, mid, and near. But it also depends on your health goals. A lot of times, if you're just trying to be more proactive and be more preventative instead of reactive, and you feel overall pretty good and you feel pretty healthy, and you don't want to spend 6-7 grand, then absolutely just get a far infrared sauna. It's still quality, it's still great. But if you're that person who really has a lot of chronic health issues, you have a lot of circulatory issues, you have a lot of pain, yeah, I definitely think that there's a time where the additional wavelengths come into play. Now, I actually am an authorized dealer for Clearlight Saunas at thesaunalife.com, and we have a Premier model and a Sanctuary model. Now, it's not just the wavelengths, but it's the look of the sauna. The Premier actually has more wood and less glass, where the Sanctuary has more glass and less wood. It's a totally different design. The Sanctuary models are bigger, so if you compare like a Premier, which is just far infrared, to a Sanctuary, which is far, mid, and near, you can say, well, I want a Premier 2 versus a Sanctuary 2. The reality is a Sanctuary has, more depth to it because it's a different design. And of course, they look different aesthetically. And then of course, there's 2 additional wavelengths. So hopefully this has clarified the difference between far, mid, and near. And again, like I said, infrared is something your own body gives off, so it's completely safe. A lot of people are looking for traditional saunas because they get super hot. But what people don't realize is that they're actually penetrating the air and not the core body. And over time, they will burn out the lungs because the body and the lungs can only handle about 180 to 200 degrees, which is what a steam traditional sauna gets. Over time, your lungs will suffer, when the ideal temperature for an infrared sauna is anywhere from that 125 to 135 range, give or take, and there's different variables with that. So please make sure that you have liked, subscribed, and commented below. And to visit and learn more about these amazing models and wavelengths, go to thesaunalife.com.